All right, this is video 10, recording as of January 23rd, 2025. It's been a little while. I think I last left off this series with the announcement that we were going to. Oh, whoops. With the announcement that we were going on vacation the following week, which we did. So I missed 2 weekends because of that, and then, we just got busy, and I'll go into a little bit of the detail, but this is going to be a bit of a longer one today, so I can kind of catch everybody up on what's been going on. So, vacation went great. I was pleasantly surprised to find that Vinny was really good on the plane. She was calm and collected for most of it, and I think we only really had some moments where I was a little anxious near the end of the first half of the return flight. So that went really well. Hawaii obviously is beautiful. We got to see some really great stuff. I got to swim with some sea turtles, and we got to watch a seal lounge on the beach, which was a really cool sight. And all around, it was just a really good trip. I don't have a ton of stories to tell from it. I think the biggest one would probably be that we were going on this hike, this really touristy hike that takes place in Hawaii, and we couldn't find really good information on what difficulty level of a hike it was. Some people were saying really easy and beginner friendly. Some were saying not. And when we got there, it was not beginner friendly. It was like maybe 2 miles more like 1.5 miles of just vertical incline. And I was carrying Vinny most of the way up the mountain, and I didn't bring anything for my blood sugar because I thought it was going to be a beginner-friendly, casual hike, and it was not. So, we got to the top, and I'm crashing, and we don't have a whole lot of food, but we make it work, and ultimately I made it down okay. So that was fun. But the actual summit was beautiful, so it was really worthwhile. Yeah, and then when we got back, that was just a nice, relaxing trip. And when we got back, we kind of jumped full force into prepping for the move. I know that you probably haven't seen a whole lot of this room before during this video series, but I think you'll notice at the very least that all of the colors have changed. Mostly just because our realtor told us that white really opens up the space and it's easy for people to paint over. So we basically redid the paint in the whole house. We used to have the TV and the couch down here in that corner, or the TV at least in that corner, and the couch over here. But those things have been moved upstairs to declutter the basement. And it just makes the space really feel very open. We ended up having to get a storage container because we've just packed up so much stuff that's gone away into the storage container. And they say that you're only supposed to have like 90. You're supposed to take 90% of the stuff you have in your house and remove it for photos to sell, so that other people can get a sense of size, but also to make your house not look cluttered. So that's really why I haven't recorded anything since early January, just because we've been so busy every weekend trying to get this done. And the reason I'm even finally sort of got up the energy to get back into this. Oh, and also, all of our desks moved. So while we were painting, my desk was completely taken apart, and I didn't have any of the recording stuff set up. And I'm already really pressed for time recording these because game night is Saturday night, and then I get up Sunday. I sleep in a little bit because we're usually up much later during game night, and then I have to walk the dogs, take notes for game night, and then eat, and then do the recording, all before Vinny and Gabby wake up. And so I'm usually so I haven't really had time to sit down and prep it, but that gets into why I am recording again today, and that is because the dogs are going crazy. That is because a couple of weeks back, Gabby was talking about how nobody in her extended family had met Vinny, and that's just because the only people who've had the time and the money to fly out here have been her folks. So we decided that we would do a surprise. That Gabby and Vinny could do a surprise trip for to go out there and surprise her parents and let her siblings and let Gabby's siblings meet Vinny and let Vinny meet her cousins. So I told her just plan it, go whenever you feel like you have time. Mostly because the move, now that the house is listed, or it will be listed as of Thursday of this coming week. Now that that's happening, any weekend could be the weekend where we have to start packing stuff up and start moving. We need to be looking at houses in Cheyenne now. So I told her you should probably go before we list, because otherwise you're going to get so wrapped up in the move that you won't visit until she's closer to 10 or 11 months old, and it's going to be really hard to travel with a 10 or 11-month-old as opposed to a... Oh! Did you hear I was doing a video? Come on up. Say hi. Hello. I'm here for the video. Dad, throw that. There you go. So, yeah, I told her to just plan it for whenever. And the moment she bought the tickets, I walked over and pointed out to her that she bought her departing ticket for 5 a.m. the morning of our anniversary. Guys, I'm trying to do this. Do you mind? I finally get the chance to catch up on videos without... And so that's this weekend. And so it's nice because I felt like I finally got a chance to sit down and record a long one without Gabby or Vinny needing to worry about waking them up. And now, of course, the dogs are like, well, we need attention, actually. So yeah, that's where they are, and that's why I've been able to get back into it. I don't want to spend a ton of extra time than normal, but I do want to go over some sort of highlights from the past month. Nova, come here. Drop that. Drop it. No, I'm not playing tug. Drop it. Nova. Nova, drop it. Nova, I'm trying to record this. Can you stop? Drop it. Jesus, dog. You can play with anything else right now, just nothing that squeaks. Oh my gosh. So anyway, just some key elements that I wanted to talk about when now that we are back in the swing of things. New presidency has started, and I couldn't be happier with the results. They are cutting things left and right from the budget, saving billions of dollars. They're talking about dividend checks as a sort of apology, I suppose, for all the money that's essentially just been wasted over the last, I mean, who even knows, a good 20 plus years, even, probably from back in Obama's presidency, maybe even back in through Bush's. I don't know. But that's been wildly successful. A lot of, there was a really interesting tariff dispute where people were essentially going, oh, well, if you put tariffs on Mexico and Canada, they're just going to put tariffs back on us. And They were criticizing Trump for doing those tariffs, but both countries folded within a handful of hours. Another country, I think Colombia, folded when they were refusing to take back illegal immigrants who had committed crimes in the U.S. So it's been a very successful presidency, and I'm really looking forward to the next 4 years. I think we're going to see a lot of really good change. All of his cabinet members got appointed, so RFK is in charge of Health and Human Services. Kash Patel is in with the FBI. Tulsi Gabbard is the director of national intelligence. So it's really just been a very successful. I can't remember the name of his AG, but she got in as well. So it's been a really successful couple of weeks, and I'm really happy to see everything going how it's going, because it really seems like the adults are back in the room, and people are really handling it. Uh, on a culture front, uh, really seems like Marvel is going rudderless. So Captain America: Brave New World came out, and God bless Aiden. He's got a heart of gold, but I think he's a little too forgiving of the projects. I mean, everything I've seen says that Captain America: Brave New World is a cluster of a cluster of a movie where you can see where they what parts of the cut were part of different production lines in the movie, because it had three different scripts and three different rewrites essentially, when test screenings failed, and people are saying you can definitely tell which parts were added and which parts were original, just because it's so disjointed. Um, they did announce the Fantastic Four movie, which will hopefully be good. It's titled Fantastic Four First Steps, so I don't know what they're planning on doing with it. My brother and I have been having this debate for a very long time. I think that it would just be best for them to cut their losses with what they have now and say, hey, we understand people did not like the multiverse saga, which is not even true. No, it's not that people didn't like the multiverse. It's just that they were so focused on having a female-led MCU that they neglected characters that were really relevant. And Kevin Feige seems to realize this. He's apparently been cutting people who were saying, "Hey, push this female and diversity-led MCU," and completely ignore what people are actually asking for. And so that's good news. But Aiden thinks there's a way to salvage it. I think that they would honestly just be best at this point to take the Fantastic Four and say, hey, Galactus ate the other timeline or some shit like that. I don't know, and just call it quits there. Because, I'm sorry, if there are movies that come out where I'm going to have had to watch Brave New World or The Marvels or heck, even like Black Widow, which was not very interesting, people aren't going to see those projects because they're not invested in it anymore. And Aiden thinks that there's enough people who just go for the solo experience, and I just don't think that's the case. I mean, I think they'll do fine, but it will never be the cultural juggernaut that it was unless they reinvest people in the long-term storytelling. So we'll see where it goes. I'm hopeful that they can fix it, because Star Wars is gone. They're doubling down on all of the stuff that essentially made the franchise a failure, and it's actually at the point now where even though Star Wars was a really important part of my wife and I's early friendship, the brand has just taken so much damage from all the bad things they've produced. So, outside of the core trilogies, the six, the originals and the prequels, and then the Clone Wars TV show, I guess Rogue One is also pretty good in there, so I wouldn't complain about that. And then the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. Everything else they've put out has been hot garbage, and it seems like they're just doubling down on it. So I don't know if there's anything to be done for them. It feels like that franchise is over. Doctor Who on the same front is also. We're hearing rumors that they're talking about shelving it because they put that woman doctor as the last doctor, and people were like, we're not a huge fan of this, but it still kept some numbers. And then when her series ended, they thought, and then the showrunner who had brought it back with, I think, the Ninth Doctor with Christopher Eccleston, it was announced that he was coming back, and boy, people were excited, and then he ruined it. He was like, now we're gonna make the Doctor a effeminate man, even though everything else we've ever shown about him shows that it's the most dangerous man in the universe. So, and then they were just pushing all of their political agendas, and people lost interest. And the first episode of that Doctor's first season was so poorly received, at the lowest viewership of any season starter of Doctor Who in history, by a wide margin too. So they just wrapped filming on season 2. That Doctor is already leaving, so I'm pretty sure Doctor Who's also getting shelved. There's a lot of like legacy brands at this point that I think are just, they're on their way out, because people are sort of sick of watching their, the things they grew up with screwed over on. Star Trek 2, they just released like a straight to streaming services movie, and it was received really poorly, and they've got like 5 to 6 shows and nobody's watching them. So I think it's just because there's no heart behind the projects. They're just trying to make money, and so that's just sort of been the developments over the past handful of weeks since I've been gone. I'm trying to think of what else there is. I continue to make progress on the 40K books. I finished, as far as the Siege of Terra goes, I finished the Solar War, the Lost and the Damned, the First Wall, and then now I'm about halfway through Saturnine, which has been really good. Especially now that this really just feels like the climax of the series. Things are just amping up and getting more and more excited. Although I'm worried about Games Workshop too, because I guess they've been having worse and worse quarters year after year, and that's really not too surprising. Games Workshop made the mistake that a lot of tech companies made during COVID, which was, in the tech company's case, there were so many people that were moving online to do remote work. They were like, oh my God, we have to hire 40% more staff than we usually have to handle this influx, because this is going to be the norm. And then Games Workshop saw the increase in the hobby during COVID and did the same thing essentially. And then the tech companies found people were going back to work, and so they started doing mass layoffs. But Games Workshop was in a more unique problem where they had once been much more defensive over the lore. They now began to sort of twist the lore to favor a more broad audience. But those changes happened right around the same time that exact same audience abandoned them. So, and don't get me wrong, I was a convert from COVID too, but I would like to think that I'm also more of a loyal fan to the lore. So I hope they put it together. I hope they make the changes that people actually want to see versus the changes that they think people want to see. But yep, the video's coming close to about 20 minutes now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, stuff's happened. I don't really have a whole lot to share as far as work goes. Yeah. No, I don't have a whole lot to share as far as work goes. I'm happy that we finished the general construction of the the general, like, well, I shouldn't say construction, but the general like work that needed to be done around the house, because it finally feels like I could take some time and relax and work on stuff that I want to work on. But beyond that, I don't have a whole lot to say. Vinny's progressing really well. She's really developing a lot of personality. Very very social. She It's actually to the point where it's actually kind of a problem. She won't sleep if there are guests in the house, which then when they do leave makes her really mad because she's like, wait, now I'm tired. What the heck? Why didn't you let me sleep? So that's been really cute. And boy, she's so close to crawling, and she just wants to do it so bad. But yeah, I think that's the general update. I'm gonna try to start recording weekly again. So I'll be looking forward to getting back in the mega mix here, and hopefully I'll be able to go into a little bit more detail as time goes on, because I'm sure there's other stuff that happened in that time frame that I missed, but who knows? I can't remember it now. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.